Go Tri-Cities and the Buzz present Buzzcuts.
And welcome to Buzzcut number 53. We hope everybody's having a good time. I'm Jared Bentley, and I'm here with Thomas Bettini. Tom, how you doing today?
Much better.
Good. You're looking well today.
Yeah, man, I'm feeling a lot better.
Well, good. It's just you and I for right now. We are waiting on one of our cohorts. Our guest for today, Mr. Jef Roberts, is going to be in the building. Dave is not going to be with us today. He's a little under the weather and very busy. He's been working steadily and heartily on kingsport.tv. Going to give that a little plug right now. Kingsport.tv is a new website. Host video. If you've seen any of the videos we've done for local bands, you're going to be able to find all those at kingsport.tv. Go down to the bottom of it, and you'll see a button that says The Buzz. Click on there, and you'll see any of the videos we've done about music. You can also watch The Dailies, which is a new program we have together, and all the news videos from KingsportTimesNews.com, or actually timesnews.net. And basically, it's going to be a video channel that you can take advantage of. If you film a music video, if you've taken something like that, you can submit it to us, and we'll take it under advisement to put it up on the web if it's not too racy or a bunch of junk in it. I like that word, racy. It covers a lot of ground.
It does indeed.
But we'll show you a way to submit videos. You can do it through our Spotted program. And if you got a music video and you want to put it on a website that thousands of people are going to be able to look at daily, just go to kingsport.tv and find out what we have going on in the near future. And that's my shameless plug for the day.
Right on.
All right. Got to sell something. I was hoping Dave would be here today because we have several things that we're going to talk about, one of which I was wanting to get an update on the Freedom Hall. We've got a good guest in the building today when he gets here to talk about Freedom Hall. Jef Roberts chimed in on the Buzz and has talked about a lot of shows that he saw over the years. Wanted to get an update where we stand on listing all the shows. Going to go forward with trying to find out what we can do in the future with Freedom Hall as well. Tom, do you think there's any chance at all that Freedom Hall will become the concert venue that it was 20 years ago?
I would love to hope so. I want to be positive about it. However, harsh reality screams that, just the whole music scene is way different now. People they don't go out like they used to. The computer, in my opinion, has killed a lot of that. People don't even go shopping no more. They can order online and have it delivered to them.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't even leave their house anymore. And with the price of gas, it keeps you from going somewhere. It keeps bands from coming to you. I don't think it'll ever come back to being what it was in the 70s, but it could get close. It could get close. What I understand, is their rental fees, Freedom Halls, their rental fees are just outrageous, just like the price of gas. It's gouging.
Yeah.
I believe, and this is just my opinion, I stress again, I believe that there's one or two people that are making all the decisions on that place, and they are prejudiced against rock and roll. They don't want anything in there that's not Holiday on Ice or Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Anything that has any edge to it, the first smell of controversy, and they don't want anything to do with it.
I think you're right. People always go back to the White Zombie show in the 90s as like an indicator of what happened. And I always thought that was kind of ridiculous. Why are we looking at Rob Zombie as an indicator of where... But really, when you look at it, that was kind of the tipping point. They booked the show, and then through public non-support, through people protesting it, they had to take the show away, and it ended up going to Bristol. And that really was the point when Freedom Hall became a really vanilla, watered-down concert venue.
Right. It started getting thin before the Rob Zombie thing. I mean, you look at the thing on the Buzz, and during the 70s, I mean, there were 5 and 6 concerts a year at least from like 74 on up. And then you start getting into the 80s, and it starts thinning out, and you can see it very gradually. Then it gets up to about the mid-80s, and all of a sudden it's like one concert every 2 years, and it just keeps getting worse. And then the Rob Zombie thing, that was kind of like the
nail in the
straw.
coffin. Yeah.
Exactly. And like I say, it's a shame that the Bible Belt kills us like that. I mean, we are in America. Freedom of religion. Was America not founded? Was America not created really because of that one thing?
Yeah.
Pilgrims.
Yeah.
Freedom of religion. And now Christians scream about being persecuted, but yet
They go all
the
out
same
to persecute others.
Christians run out and stand around a venue in a snowstorm to tell you that the devil's in town and you're going to hell. Let me tell you something, and I know this from personal experience. You tell a town that the devil's coming, man, they're going to show up.
No, yeah.
You want to sell out a place, you tell them that the devil's coming.
There you go.
I'm telling you, man. They did.
No,
they did Rob Zombie. He got more publicity out of that than any advertising agency could give him. But,
You know, I remember looking at national news surrounding that, you know, and here's Johnson City and Bristol on national news and making the rounds and everything. And you're right. Rob Zombie all of a sudden became a spokesman for you know, who could be. I'm not a big White Zombie fan. I respect what Rob Zombie did with what he has and what he was able to do. But I'm not a big fan of the artistic vision of the man. But it completely made him, you know, in a sense, a martyr for what he did, and it created a whole new legion of fans who stood up, you know, and looked at him and was just like, this guy must really be dangerous. And
He is the devil.
if that's the danger, I'm going to follow that, you know. And like you're saying, it was a huge favor to him. And the man just walked in the door that we were talking about earlier, Mr. Jef Roberts. So Jef Roberts just walked in the room, and on Dave's post about Freedom Hall, there was a big reply to that from you, Ravel. What were some of the shows you saw when you first moved up here?
I saw Motley Crue, Iron Maiden, Priest, pretty much all the 80s metal bands, Alice Cooper, Kiss, a whole bunch, Nugent, you know, stuff like that.
Do you think you're ever going to see them again at Freedom Hall?
No. It would be great, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great?
you know, I really haven't done the research on this, but I'm starting to think that I might have actually seen the first concert to ever be there, because Dave says the place wasn't open until 1974, but I know for a fact, I mean, I was there in 73. I don't know how this works. I saw the band America.
You know, the funny thing is, I don't know what year it was. My parents they saw America in Johnson City. They didn't tell me it was Freedom Hall, but I know that when my brother was about 4 or 5 years old, that would have put him at 4 years old, they went to see America and left me with the grandparents and took my brother with them to the show. So I believe you're right. If that show's at Freedom Hall, I know it happened.
Well, see, I was only 12 or 13, and the reason I know this is my grandfather took me to see it because he was scared to let me go alone, and I was on the baseball team at John Sevier Junior High School, and we're having our big end-of-the-season game against our arch nemesis, Ross and Robinson. And I told the coach, hey, I'm not lying. I mean, they fought over it.
Yeah.
But I told the coach, I said, I ain't going to make this game. I'm going to go see America. And this other guy that was on the team was going to go with me. And the coach, and he was a cool guy, he said, well, boys, if y'all don't come to this game, you don't get your letter. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Well, the other guy that was going to go with me, that scared him. He said, well, I want my letter. And I said, I could care less. I said, I'm going to go to this concert. I've done bought the tickets, and I can't believe you're copping out on me. Well, I went and saw this concert. I forget who opened up.
Was it Bread that opened up for them? It seems like I remember them saying that Bread was the opening act. How stale a night of music would that be?
I think something was in the actual thread about that.
Was it? It was Bread opened up for
Dave
America.
Bread.
But I saw, I forget who it was, but I saw that. And then the next day when I went to school, and the coach, he was also my homeroom teacher, he kind of looked at me, and I said, well, here I am. And you know what he said? He goes, well, did they play Horse with No Name? I said, yeah, man, of course they did. And then I got my letter anyway. So,
Well, there you go. There you go. You got to make concessions.
But that was the spring of '73. I'm almost positive.
I was always curious about when I had no clue. When I know Elvis played there in '77, right?
Yeah.
Which is pretty
shortly before he died.
awesome.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, that's awesomeness.
Man, yeah, it's I've gotten, Elvis played the Kingsport Civic Auditorium down here, and the first time I ever played the stage at Kingsport Civic Auditorium, I had somebody talking about, Elvis played this stage and da-da-da-da-da, and I thought that was kind of goofy and who could care less, but later on in that evening, a friend was just like, so where'd you play tonight? And I said, we played Kingsport Civic Auditorium. The first thing I said after I said that was, Elvis played that stage.
Right.
Immediately. Elvis played there too.
Into a godlike figure.
Exactly.
Or something.
Man, I'm trying. Is either 73 or 74.
Yeah.
I know when I started the 10th grade, it was 1975. And a school year goes, it would be like 75, 76.
Yeah.
So my 9th grade would have been 74 and 75.
Yeah.
And this was 8th grade, so that would have been 73.
Would it 73 to 74?
4.
Yeah.
And so if it was in the springtime, then
Would have
I
been
guess
74.
74.
There you go.
The powers of deduction in this room are incredible.
Well, I know where both of your musical tastes lie, in a sense. Tom, I know you're a Beatles man, but beyond that, you like heavier music. Jeff, you like heavier music. There was a post recently about why this area doesn't have a good AC/DC cover band or somewhere. They were looking for a good AC/DC cover band. And I started thinking, almost all the bands around here I see play at least 2 or 3 AC/DC songs. It seems like even the bluegrass songs bands will throw an AC/DC song out there every now and then. And I started thinking, I think AC/DC is a great band. I don't know if how well a AC/DC tribute band would do regularly around here. But if you guys could choose a band, one of your favorite bands, to be part of a tribute band for somebody, who would that band be? If you were going to be a tribute band and you could pick any band out there to pay tribute to and be part of that musical experience, who would it be?
To be part of to be an AC/DC?
No, to be a part of any tribute band. Who would the band be? Like if you weren't going to choose AC/DC.
Oh, if I got to choose the band I was going to be a tribute to.
There you go.
I know what band he'd pick.
Would you pick the Beatles?
I would pick the Beatles, or I'd pick Yes.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
See, that was completely unexpected. There,
loves
Tom.
Chris-
You
you
threw
like Chris
it.
Squire. I know.
Yeah,
We
man,
know each other a
it's
while.
bad to the
Yeah, you
bone.
threw
I'd
a
rather
curve
do
to me on that one.
Rush, but
I would probably
that was
pick,
a curve.
God, that's so hard because I love the Beatles as well.
Yeah.
I love lots of other people wouldn't. I love Linda Ronstadt, and I'm saying that out
Oh, I
loud.
love me some Linda Ronstadt.
I like everything she's ever done.
I think the young Linda Ronstadt's one of the sexiest women that ever lived.
Agreed. That's something that people wouldn't know about me. I'm a Law and Order freak, and I love everything Linda Ronstadt's ever done, and own it on vinyl. I would either be in a Clash tribute band or an Alice Cooper, the original Alice Cooper band.
Very cool. Very cool.
Because
I'm all
I love
about the
Kiss,
Clash.
but that's obvious. They would know who I was without the makeup. With the makeup.
Well, very cool. I was thinking about this the other night. I would love to be. Dave and I have been listening. I've been trying to get him to listen to some Tower of Power lately, and I started thinking, I would love it if Tower of Power somehow didn't have a singer for a while, and I could just go sing with that band. If I could be in a Tower of Power tribute band, I'd make my day. Either that, or I'd love to be in a Los Lobos tribute
Los
band.
Lobos is
I think Los
awesome.
Lobos is amazing. I'd have to brush up on my Spanish to cover half that stuff, but man, I think those two bands are two of the finest American bands going over the last 30 years. Both of them been going strong, but Tower of Power by far. I think they just extremely funky, extremely soulful, and
I think
a whole
the
lot
Los
of fun to
Lobos
sing.
thing is a surprise to me.
Yeah, no, I
like
love
that.
Los Lobos. I think they're amazing.
Did they do?
What is hip?
Yeah.
And Don't Change Horses in the Middle of the Stream, East Bay Grease.
That is a killer.
Oh, yeah.
That bass is just.
I forgot how much you like the dude from Yes. I remember that now. I remember us having this conversation at some point.
But their music. I mean, I love it. It's good. I like it.
Oh yeah,
That was
It's
cool.
amazing.
You put up all those
Rocco
pictures.
Press, yeah, those were great
Hey,
The
pictures.
pictures?
Oh yeah,
That was crazy.
Hey, and listen, here's your public service announcement. Go look at those pictures of Chris Squire on the Buzz, and now look at pictures of him today. I got one word for you: cocaine. See, when I was on the road, when we went out with Ted Nugent and the damn Yankees, I found out that the guy that was their road manager had worked for Yes many, many times. And when he found that I was a Yes fanatic, he said, well, man, come up to my room. We had a day off, and me and the drummer for Ted, we went up there, and that guy, he had also played for UK, and he was really into technical stuff, And when they found out that I liked stuff like that, I mean, they couldn't believe it. But we went up there, and man, they showed me footage that nobody has. And he even said, now watch what cocaine does to Chris Squire. And we watched about 5 different pieces of footage that spanned like 15 years. And I mean, it was watching what they call time-elapse photography.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that stuff ate his ass up quick.
Yeah, it'll do it.
Quick.
It'll do it. That's it's not a pretty sight.
No.
Not a pretty sight at all.
He can still play, though.
Oh, man, yeah. I mean, he's amazing. He's amazing. It's you're talking about bass players, though. Rocco Prestia from Tower Power, I think, is I'd put him in my top 5 of all time.
Incredible bass player.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And that's what carries, I've told you many times, in my opinion, that's what carries a great band is rhythm section. If you don't have a rhythm section, you got nothing to build upon. And all the great bands have a great rhythm section.
Agreed. If you ain't got the bass and the drums and
it doesn't matter how much you can shred or what you can do. Nope. You're falling behind. Another thing you guys have in common that a thread was thrown up that I'm noticing quite a lot lately is people coming on the Buzz asking about rehearsal facilities and where to practice and where to do this. Does anybody know of anything? Jef, you've been in the same practice room for how long?
The one I have now, I've been in it for 8 years.
8 years. And you had another one before that was a long-time utilized facility that you utilized.
Both in the same, almost same building, but not. Bristol's weird.
Yeah.
Front side of but basically the same block.
Yeah. And Tom, are you using the same practice facility as Jef right now?
No, I'm in some weird warehouse behind Kmart with a blazing grace. It's so weird. All these empty rooms. I mean, it's full of all this office furniture and stuff. And then we've got our one little room,
But you're in that place that used to be, is it like directly behind Kmart? I mean, you drive around it and it's like in the parking lot the next right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I bet that used to be an old gymnasium.
Wow.
Dojo karate place, I think.
Well, the thing about that is there's been discussion before. Somebody in Johnson City tried to do it and it fell through. I would love for someone to step up if somebody has property or anything like that. I think it would be a good idea if I owned property. What I might do if I had some downtown stuff that was just sitting there, nobody was using it, is divide it up and have storage facility there for people to be able to keep their stuff safely and rent it out as practice facility for musicians.
Do that in Atlanta, of course.
Yeah, if you go to any large city, you're going to find that. And I know in New York, there are people who make big money off of that. They rent it out to studios and studio musicians, people who just need to play. You're living in an apartment your whole life. You can't afford to have it in your apartment and lose where you live.
I lucked out on the one I have now because I've been lying the whole time I've been in a band. I've been lying. What do you want to rent this for? Teaching music lessons. I'm a professor. I mean, you name it, I've said it, whatever. And this time I just came clean and said, I got a band, I just want to rehearse. And it's the cheapest room. The room that we had before that we were sharing with Omega Tribe years ago when they first started out, and then the band they were in before that was like $300 some.
Was that the beauty shop?
That one. That was like $300 and some, and it was it started
That's
off
too
nice
much
and it turned into
it's a lot of money.
It turned into a crap hole.
Yeah.
The one I have upstairs has got full kitchen, showers. It's $150. I mean, it's as big as it's like 2 Irisons.
Great.
Or whatever it's called.
Yeah, you can live in there.
That's right, you have,
Easy.
For $150 a month.
$150 a month.
Wow.
And I split the electric bill with the entire building, so I'm paying 10% of the entire building's electric bill, which I get 4 times a year. It's like $32 every time.
Wow.
Lucked out, though. I lucked out.
No kidding. It sounds like it.
And it's really nice. He's been there.
That is a cool practice.
It's real cool. The only bad thing about it is you got to walk up 2 flights of stairs to carry your stuff up. And as you know, you guys, I saw where you guys had got on Dave Manning.
Carrying stuff upstairs. Well, our practice facility for the last 7 years has been my apartment with every band I'm in. My apartment is 37 stairs up over top of a store in Elizabeth, a narrow set of stairs. So, I mean, anytime I play a gig or do anything, I'm loading out on those stairs, and it kills you. The
only good thing is my stairs are wide, whereas Dave, for example, at O'Mannon's is narrow
Yeah.
as hell.
Yeah,
You and I discussed
it's
this once
hard.
before.
Yeah.
It's hard on your body once you get
yeah.
older to carry.
Get
I
up and
got
down.
to carry him down 2 flights of stairs.
Yeah.
Load him, drive him a couple blocks, then carry him back up 2 flights of stairs.
And then turn around and do the same thing again.
Yeah.
That's one of the good things about the guys I'm playing with now is that we don't practice at my house anymore. We're practicing in a music store where you open the door, carry your stuff in, and you're done. And I like that a lot. I love the idea of just carrying something straight in a door and setting it down somewhere.
That's the way it used to be at O'Mannon's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You played downstairs.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
golly.
Citizen Kane played that. I guess the first time I saw you guys, it was like, even you walk in, boom, right there they are, slamming
Yeah.
Deep Purple right in my head, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about building my own practice space on my mom's property. I don't have any problem with where I'm at. It's just I was
It's a
thinking
lot
I
easier
paid
to be that close.
$20,000. I pay the rent myself because I'm the only one with the key. So I paid $20,000 at least in 8 years. Once
Yeah.
you think about it, it's like
Yeah.
my rent's just $150. So
It builds
adds
up.
up.
Yeah.
It's up. If you built a garage, a center block, and then you put 2x4s on the walls, put a space in it, maybe some styrofoam or from some whatever you call it.
Insulation.
and then actually had it professionally soundproofed.
Yeah. It'd be worth it. It'd be worth it.
Be worth
I know.
it in the long run.
I know several people. A friend of mine up in Roanoke, John McBroom, went to Home Depot and bought the largest storage building that they sell that has like a garage door on the front of it, and had that put on his lot, and then paid some guy to come in and soundproof it, and that's his practice facility. And he's actually recorded several people out there and done a really
How
good
big
job
is
with it.
I mean, what about basically?
The storage building itself, it's like 20 by 24 feet or something like
metal
that.
shed?
No, not a metal shed. It's one of the wooden ones, and it looks nice. It's basically the size of a 1.5 car garage, I guess you could say. So plenty big enough for his band to sit in there and practice and do whatever they need to do.
What that
Cost him,
cost?
I think he ended up paying about $6,000 or $7,000 for it, something like that.
Something to look into, isn't it?
Yeah, and it worked really well. And once he got it soundproof, I went to his bachelor party, or not bachelor party, but it was like a wedding party. He and his wife both threw at their place before they got married. And this has been years ago, but walking up to it, I was walking up to the house because I thought that's where everybody was. I saw the cars parked and didn't hear any noise. All of a sudden, the door opens up at that building, and there's sound comes pouring out. I was 10 feet away from it. Had no idea. Wow. So he did a great job with it.
Excellent.
This is Girls with Guns by Punch and Judy. Give it a listen. Stick around. We'll be right back with more Buzzcuts. And we are back with Buzzcuts. It's Buzzcuts number 53. I'm Jared. That's Tom. And our guest today is Jef Roberts, who's been talking with us through this first part. Jef, you've been a part of the Bristol music scene for a few years now. And actually, you were one of the first bands I ever went to see when I started coming over to Bristol in the mid '90s and hanging out and playing in a band myself. That band would be Punch and Judy.
Yeah, 19 years old this year. 19 when I started it, so 20 next year the band will be.
There you go. You gonna let her vote this year?
Yeah, maybe.
Now that she's of age. Well, man, tell us a little bit about Punch and Judy. How did it get started?
A bunch of guys who were into all this punk stuff and this metal stuff and this classic rock, stuff we grew up on. Nobody was really playing it, and we wanted to be the band that we wanted to see live. And what we did was, I was originally playing drums, and we never could find a singer, so I eventually became the singer. And we told Doug Anderson, whom I saw at Rhythm and Roots, which was crazy.
Yeah, running sound at Statewide.
We told him and some guy named Todd, who they ran this place called the Highlander. It was in '89. Told them that we could fill his facility up. I mean, we were like, we are the best band, period, end of story. We were just doing that just so we could get a gig.
Yeah.
And we actually told everybody we knew and didn't know, filled up a writer's night, and he gave us a show. And the first show we played for 2 pitchers of beer. None of us were old enough to drink except Pat Malone. And him barely, I guess, at the time. And we packed it, and that's just kind of how it started. And we were playing, some covers then too, a lot of covers, but nobody knew what they were. They were all real weird, underground punk bands and whatnot. But
well, would you consider yourself a punk band, or how would you describe what you do?
I always just thought we were a rock band because we play rock. Rock's got so many subgenres now, but we like the Beatles, we like the Clash, we like the Misfits, we like Black Sabbath, we like Kiss, we like Black Flag. I mean, just like what I like if I like it. So I just think we're a rock band. I don't know. I don't like to put anything else on it, just that.
Yeah, I like when you ask them what they play and they say rock and roll. That kills me when you ask some kid what they play and they're like neocore metal, deathcore. I'm just like, is it rock and roll?
Post-apocalyptic, neo shit.
And it keeps getting worse and worse every year, does it not?
It definitely does, yeah.
Yeah, well, we're kind of a post-hardcore, or we're a post-hard metalcore. Something you're like, what?
Post what?
Yeah.
Post what?
Really? Post what? After what? What happened? Now, I know we got BC and AD. I understand that pre and post.
Yeah.
But after that, I'm post what?
Excuse me.
But I'm all about the rock and roll. And you guys, one thing I always liked about your band, and something that surprised me, was, I don't remember how it happened, and I tell people a lot, and they're just like, what was your favorite time to play? And I was just like, Bristol in the mid-'90s was great, because I thought there were a lot of good bands that came through there and everything. But there was also kind of a camaraderie, and it wasn't just between certain sections like it is now. Now it seems like all the metal bands know each other and kind of hang out, and even if they're competitive, they know each other and hang out. And, country bands, bluegrass bands doing everything like that. We opened for you on several occasions. My band was a hippie band. Your band was a hardcore, had a hardcore following of rabid fans.
Right.
And I always liked the idea that you guys welcomed us in, and it always felt really good. And it was a good mix between the fans. All our fans who were probably coming to see the show and very leery of, what was going, like, they're going to ruin their buzz or whatever.
Well, yeah, we've always been like that, It's like, I guess how even like you guys are in Blazing Grace, it's like we just say we're a rock band. Like we played with a band called Virginia Ground a few years ago. You know what they were doing.
Yeah, acoustic rock and roll.
Right, and they were calling it, basically, what were they call? What do you call it?
Jam grass, I think.
Jam grass or roots rock or whatever. Mm-hmm. But we played with those guys, and it reminded me of when we played with you guys. It was the same sort of a feeling. But we've always been like, we like so much stuff. I mean, we've always been labeled as this like heavy band. And we're heavy. But see, a lot of the metal bands around here don't like us because we're not all the time, and we're too metal for the somebody and we're too punk for somebody else. We're kind of like the New York Dolls were. We're misunderstood.
Yeah.
I think. So we're just say rock and roll. We'll play with anybody, anytime, anywhere, and have.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Well, you guys have been together, like you said, off and on. You've been together 19 years,
19
and you're
years.
back together again playing.
Yeah.
When was the last big show you played? I know you played. You've been playing recently, but how long was the split? What occurred there, and when did you guys get back together?
The only time we really split up was from we played our last show in 1999 on Halloween with 130 Edge, and in Johnson City, and then we got back together in 2002 and played like a reunion show, and that kind of kicked it off. So those years we were all in different bands. 99, like late 99 to somewhere in 2002. I don't remember the date exactly, but 2-3 years we were off playing in other bands. That's really the only time.
Well, good deal. That's amazing that you guys have been able to stay together that long and still play together.
I think it's because we all just like so much different stuff, and we can, you know, it's like, I guess like a marriage. I've never been married, but I'm assuming that's what it's like because I want to strangle certain guys in the band all the time.
I can't believe that. No way I can believe that.
Right.
All those laid-back personalities you got in your band.
Right. But, you know, something on top of what you just said, back then, Johnson City and Bristol were like the same scene. Mm-hmm. You know, yes, they're totally two different cities. I'm in Kingsport, which is a third different city.
It was very communal.
Very communal.
Yeah.
As you remember, we went down with you guys and played Senior Frogs, was it called?
Yeah, Senior Frogs.
And our whole Bristol crowd came.
Yeah, and plus
us.
you had people from the Johnson City scene came over.
There. It's very different.
That was weird.
Now.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, you are right now. It seems as though in today's world, people go to the club more than they follow the band.
Yeah.
It seems like people have the place that they're going to hang out, and they're going to go there to see who comes through rather than following a band around. And I think a lot of that has to do with, you know, as trite as this sounds, really not wanting to get out and travel.
I agree.
And, you know, take that chance that something's going to happen. I've talked to several people I know from Bristol who used to hang out in Johnson City who tell me they don't come to Johnson City anymore because every time they pick up the paper, it seems like they're reading about a fight or a stabbing or a shooting, that they feel really safe going to O'Manion's. That's where they're going to hang out. You know, it's because their friends are there. They know if something happens, you know, that you know, and nothing ever happens there. And I'm just like, you know, give me a break, take a chance. Come Johnson City, nothing really happens. They're just like, no, it costs a lot of money to drive over there. We'll just hang out here with our friends.
I was playing the Hideaway one night. I actually saw a shooting at one that happened at Gatsby's. Actually, it happened in the Breezeway.
Yeah.
But I saw it. I saw it happen. But it had nothing to do with me. I'm just, what am I going to do about it? You know, and so, I don't know. It's just, you can't. There's a lot of apathy. I know DUI is a big thing. Like back in the day, people. First of all, people our age and from our time period. It's not saying it's a good thing, but
it's kind of like a badge.
They didn't care.
Yeah.
To pile up in one car with 6 people and drink all the way from Bristol to Johnson. I'm not saying kids. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying it is what it is.
Yeah.
People would drive all over the place. One night, for example, if I could, we were driving, trying to figure out where we're going to go, and a termite, a buddy of mine, that's his nickname, he said, let's go to Kingsport. I'm like, what the hell's in Kingsport? Let's go and find out. Okay. And we drive all the way down Stone Drive to a place that at the time was called Bonnie and Clyde's Mustang. I don't know. It's one of those. Yeah. You know the club I'm talking about. Well, look on the marquee, and it was a dance bar. We were all looking for some girls. Butte. The marquee says Eruption, Van Halen tribute band. Wow. I'm thinking, hell yeah, this is awesome. We go in, Scott Travis from Judas Priest.
Man, I was there.
Were you?
Yes.
We probably spoke, I'm sure.
I was there.
I believe I remember talking to you at Keith Hawker Road and a bunch of people. Scott Travis from Judas Priest was just there. He was filling in while he was not on tour with Judas Priest. He was the drummer, and I was just like, it's in Kingsport. Nobody knows about this. These kind of weird things that happen like that. Wasn't that cool? That was a cool night.
Yep.
But you're talking about that, about just getting in the car and driving. People don't do that anymore.
No.
You don't. I mean, I can remember when I lived in Bristol, I'd pack up in a car with several guys, just grab up and head to Johnson City all the time, go to the Casbah. Because Casbah used to have a lot of traveling bands.
Great bands.
That you just, and we'd check out the Loafer and read about who it was that was playing. I remember reading about this band called Day Room that played the Casbah, loaded up in a van in a Dodge Caravan with Greg Smith and about 8 other people, and driving to the Casbah and just getting schnockered. And they were a great band, and by the end of the night they broke up because we were the only people there, and they were getting tired of playing to nobody. By the end of the night, one of the guys just walked off the stage. It was just like, that's it. And they were great. I just remember,
name of them?
Called Day Room, and they kicked ass. They were like from Atlanta or something like that.
I hate to say it, but I'm going to be an old stick in the mud. I'm in my late 30s, but I'm going to be a stick in the mud and say the way technology was moving forward with everybody, they're saying they're going to phase out CDs, and I'm refusing it.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem. See, people can just get beamed anything into their house, whatever.
Yeah. No, Tom and I were talking about it earlier that the computer has made a huge impact on it.
And the live
people are not going to travel to go see a concert they can watch on their computer.
Right, and the live experience. If it's hitting the bigger guys, it's certainly hitting us guys.
Yeah.
The lower levels.
Well, we've talked about things, looking at your CD, we've talked about things in the past about, in the old days, if you were going to spend $5,000 on a CD, you're going to spend, $1,200 or more recording. You're going to spend another $2,000 in getting it pressed and getting it together. Today, you don't have to do that. You can take that $3,200 and spend it on recording, and then let people download it for free on iTunes. And it's changed the culture of the music.
And I hate it, honestly. Yeah. I like the idea of going out and buying the hard copy, whether it be from a band. Like if say you guys were playing Omanans, never heard you, and I dug your whole set, and you had CDs for sale. That's what I like. I like to...
Yeah, having it in your hand.
Read it like Tom read it this whole time. We've been sitting there reading our CD. Yeah, that's what I like.
Yeah.
To have it just on my computer or in some type of they're talking about putting up these little, basically like little S card mini disc things to replace CDs. I just don't know, man.
Yeah, it makes a big difference to have that tactile thing in front of you.
And vinyl, of course, is the best of all. So I'm sound wise.
Definitely,
but. It's definitely changed. It's changed the whole course of everything. It's affected a lot of people coming out live. There's a lot of factors, but we've named 2 or 3 of them. They're absolutes.
Definitely. There's looking at your CD gives me an idea. The best flyers I ever saw for a band in the Bristol area were for Punch and Judy shows. You guys always had really good flyers for your shows. I can remember going over to a couple guys' houses, and they had spent like a year ripping flyers off the wall of your band and putting them around their wall. Do you think it's really important to have, like having the CD and the tactile thing, do you think it's important to have that visual medium to go with what you have going on?
Yes. Think of all the posters, particularly 60s. Jefferson Airplane, all those posters with that particular font, and you know what I'm talking about. Those kind of yes, it's most important because those are actually flyers for like so and so at the Fillmore East, the Grateful Dead at the Fillmore, Graham Parsons, whoever. You had all these different flyers. In the 70s, it was the same. Different style, but I think it's absolutely important that you have that. And nobody does that today. They get on MySpace
and they just send
and
you
they just be like, "We're playing at Omanan's Tuesday."
Yeah.
But, they don't put out a flyer for it. I've got flyers I've collected since way back in the day. And
we never really did very artistic flyers. We didn't really put a whole lot into it. We would put like really bad pictures of things with really crappy information on the flyer, just to make it stand out. Like, we'd put down like, I don't know, just something goofy, free monkeys after 11, stuff like that. Just anything that's,
we've had something like that too.
And throw those up, and people would be like, what the hell is this all
We've
about?
actually
and show
got
up and ask
one artist now that just does all of our flyers.
Okay, cool.
He actually hand paints them all, and Alan Brown. He hand paints all of our stuff. He's been doing it for about 10 years now.
Cool.
He's in the band The Rub Outs, actually. And to give him some props there. But he's a great artist, and he hand paints all of our flyers and does them, and he makes them pulp looking usually. It's the kind of style we've always kind of
liked. That's what I like.
And,
well, let me ask you, run down the guys in the band who you've got now, and then talk about people who have been in the band over the years who aren't with you anymore.
Okay. Pat Malone, bass player. Rick Morrell plays rhythm guitar. Rick Centeno plays lead guitar. And Chris White plays drums. And that's who's been in the band. Of course, Rick and Pat have been in the band all along.
Yeah.
Rick Centeno's been in the band 10 or 11 years. And Chris has been in the band since 2003, 4. Scott Thomas, who was in Tom's band and who was also in Omega Tribe, was our drummer for 10 years. Gene Hughes from Omega Tribe was in our band. Mike Burnett, Shane Smith. Shane was in Rusted Clean for a while. I don't know where he's at now.
He moved.
He moved.
He's in another state now.
He was in our band, and Jason Weems, who works at Over Mountain Press, was our guitar player at one time, and we've had as many people as Kiss or Sabbath for sure.
Yeah.
Was Misty Hughes in the band?
Yeah, she sang backups on that.
I didn't know she was a singer.
Mark Riles from Brian Nightmares was our drummer, and Stigmatism from Stinky Finger was also our drummer.
Man,
That pretty
very
much
cool.
sums up who all's been in the band.
Well, I know, like you said from the beginning, it's been you and Pat and Rick.
Right.
And you guys, you definitely got a good core going on. And I know talking to a lot of musicians over the years and people who came up the Bristol scene, there were a lot of young bands who came up over the years who cite you guys as a big influence in what they did, and what they become and everything. And who are some of the bands that you played shows with over the years in Bristol who have come around that really stand out in your mind?
Well, those Virginia ground guys are headed for big stuff. I even actually saw some. You have to excuse me. I've got a cold. My throat's like I sound like Lemmy after a whiskey bender. And they were doing something good. I even saw something on CMT, like a documentary.
Yeah,
Did you see that?
about hillbillies. They did the
Drinking
theme
out
song
of
to it.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was crazy.
yeah,
Of course, you guys, not that you were up and coming, you guys have been around, but you guys are always great. And the same with all the bands, Pat, Gene, and all those guys have been in several different bands, and they've always, done hella good around here. It drew huge crowd. I mean, those guys were opening up for us long, long, long ago.
Yeah.
And of course, they came into their own long time ago. But there's been a lot of cool bands. We had a jazz band open up for us once. They were all instrumental. I wish to God I knew what happened to those guys. They were called the Dugouts.
I never heard of them.
Guitar player. They were from like Marion or somewhere. The guitar player played this big hollow body, and it was just like, it was almost like if Michael Schenker was a jazz player. This guy was so fluid. I mean, it was crazy. And, we've always had weird bands like that open for us.
One of the
Goodies
worst.
opened up for us a long long time ago.
I thought that was a really good mix. Actually, was you guys and the Goodies. I saw you guys at the offshore.
And they played
years
with you
ago.
guys, too.
Yeah, and we played with them like the next night at the offshore. They just left their
still
stuff in the
friends with
building.
those guys are great.
Holiday's amazing.
somewhere.
Holiday's an
Can't remember
amazing
where.
talent. He's really good.
Oh, the whole band. That
Yeah.
drummer is probably the best drummer I've ever seen.
Yeah, very
Literally.
much. I'll tell you one of the scariest things ever for me musically, and one of the worst decisions ever was the guys that had the state line for a short while, John and Brooke, hired us on the same night. They had the Global Funk Council open up for us.
there.
And the worst idea in the world is playing after the Global Funk Council. That might have been the worst night I ever had musically, because those guys might be one of the half dozen most talented group of musicians traveling the United States right now.
Well, remember, I was working there then.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of what they do musically. I mean, I like it, but it's all really syncopated funk grooves and things like that, and they do a really good job with it. And that was a horrible feeling getting up on stage after after they played.
Follow that,
Yeah,
killer.
you just kind of get up there. Yeah, you just get up and just kind of shake your head, and it was I felt very inadequate, put it that way. It was a long night of playing.
Skull Soup's another band that we used to play with in the early days who are still
Around. They've been together.
digging that, just like same as us. They've
I
been
want to
along
say
as we
20 years for Skull Soup.
Oh yeah, easily.
That's great, man. We can sit here and talk about it for a long time. The music scene throughout the early 90s here in the Tri-Cities, I think, I don't think it'll ever be that strong again. I think there are a lot of good bands going right now, but man, there was just a plethora of really good musicians here in the Tri-Cities at that time. If you go back through the bands, several posts you listed just dozens of bands that were around at that time.
They were all different. None of them, a few of them might have sounded the same, but for the most part, none of them really sound the same.
Yeah, and there were a lot of really, I mean, you go from the funk of Alexis Wax to a different type of funk with Stinky Finger to the, Evolution through to Skull Soup to you guys to the Forgotten, Omegatron, just heavy bands on through to, there were a ton of jam bands that came through at that time with us and Simple and Janie Gray and different bands. There are a lot of different bands that played a lot of different styles, and you don't see any of that around here anymore. You see a lot of metal bands, and then you see people who are going the acoustic route, and there's not much in between.
Right. I wanted to throw up something to Tom if I could. I did a little homework before I came in because I didn't know what you guys were going to throw at me, so I was going to throw in a little Wolfenkite at you.
Oh, God.
I did a little studying.
Is this a band you were in, Tom?
It was. It didn't live long. It was. God, I don't even know how to explain it. I was in this one band called Apprentice that was like 1984 and is a heavy metal band. And we had a couple of versions of that band out on the road, and then it kind of fizzled, and we tried to put it back together, but the times were changing, and we had a chick singer, and we tried to get
That's what I was told about the chick singer.
And well, bands come, bands go. Thank God.
Could I also tell you something else that I want to remind you of?
What's that?
And it's not about us playing with you at the Rock Burger, because you don't remember that. This is something even better. Right when I got out of high school in the late 80s, I went to ETSU, and I lived in Buccaneer Court, which I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys know about Buccaneer Court. I know you do because you were there. It's a known hellhole and where pirates live, really. And some of the darkest moments of my life, young. Tom was walking down not North Rome, that's, I guess, South Rome, where it goes down to the Apex and the Cottage and all that. You were walking down there, and I picked you up, brought you back to my apartment at Buccaneer Court, and I had a purple BC Rich Warlock. And we were having a party. You probably don't remember this either.
I remember that Warlock. Was Mike Mahaffey there?
Yeah. Mike Mahaffey lived 2 doors down from me. And he flipped the bass upside down and played it. I didn't know he played like that. I didn't really even know him. I'd met him just a couple times. And he played the Munsters theme. And I was like, this dude is cool.
And I barely remember. I do remember that bass.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
I just thought, wow, I didn't even really know who he was. This long, black-haired dude playing my bass upside down without just playing it upside down, and playing the Munsters theme. And I was like, I dig this guy. Good times.
God, that was a long time ago. Hey, now, you was talking about that Stella Blues, and that's when I first met you.
Yeah.
You were playing in Clear, and Punch and Judy was playing there also that night?
I think you were.
Yeah.
I think that's why you were there.
We played with you guys like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I think, and it was you and us and Toast were the 3 bands, and it was put on. It was put on by WABN Radio.
That's right.
Because I think Gina Jilton I had told her, I said, I want to see this band Punch and Judy. I think, she said, well, they're out at this place.
Right.
I think I drove my 65 Dodge Dart out there, I think. But I remember having to find that place.
I really wish they had been able to keep that going, man. It was a great room.
It was a very cool room.
Yeah.
I had met you actually before that, too. We're having a big reunion here. I'd met you before that, too, because at Gina's, and you and I had driven in my little Honda, which was basically a demolition car. Do you remember this?
Didn't we go to the beer store?
We went to the beer store, and you got on top of it, because I told you I'd do anything in this car. I'd run into dumpsters. We were listening to the Misfits or something, and you got on top of my car with your boots on and just stomped. I mean, on the roof. Stomping on it. And I ran to a dumpster. I showed you. I don't care. Watch this. It was like 18. Yeah. You remember that?
Yes, I do. I do.
That was that had been like 88.
I remember enough that it actually happened. It wasn't a dream or a hallucination.
Right.
That's when we used to drink more than we drink now, if that's possible.
That's in a long list of clubs that went by the wayside. That's one I wish had stuck around. Was with the Stella Blues. I thought that
very cool.
thought those guys were doing it. Tony and Donovan did a really good job with
Agreed.
that. Always had a good band there. Always paid their bands pretty well.
And like Kingsport,
great.
Abingdon is one of those untapped resources.
Yeah.
Why is there not like some killer stellar club in either one of these towns?
Every night they had a band at Stella Blues. Cops got called every night. They did everything they could to soundproof that place to keep the noise from getting out, and people would just call and complain about the cars and the noise and everything else.
I do retract it about Kingsport because I've heard that there's
several
now,
going
but I've
on in
never been to
Kingsport,
them.
but there's nothing major. Another thing that's going on here in Kingsport, a new oyster bar is going to open up down the road. I don't know if they're going to have any kind of music or anything like that, but we'll keep an eye on that and let you know. It's
Is that
probably not going to happen for several
that
months.
place that's blue?
Yeah,
Is it
down
the
at
blue
Jack's
building?
place. Probably not going to happen for another 6 months, and when it does, we'll let you know if they're going to have music and everything.
Awesome.
You keep an ear out.
How's the Cactus Moon place? I mean, as far as
Tom's played there, haven't you, at the Cactus Moon?
Yes, I did.
It's big and it's got a lot of paintings inside, and
Is
there's
it on
neon
Stone
on the
Drive?
walls.
I don't-
Yeah, it's what used to be the place you was talking about, Bonnie and Clyde.
Bonnie and Clyde's.
But they've totally redone it. That place has great potential. They need to figure out their identity.
Right.
What kind of place they want to be and what kind of people that they want to have in there, and then that's the kind of music that needs to be played
Gotcha.
in there. I played there Citizen Kane. We're playing metal, and they're in there playing Mustang Sally and Brown Eyed Girl and that watered down shit that makes me want to projectile vomit every time I hear it. And I mean, and there were some people there that were into that stuff, and of course they hated our guts. And I even went to the guy and said, "Man, you're killing us. You are killing us with this music." Well, that's what they want to hear. And I'm like, well, how about when we get on the stage and they become miserable? Why don't you get them miserable now and get them out of here before we hit the stage, so we won't have to come off stage and knock
And
somebody
be the bad
out?
guy, yeah.
No. And so some woman just finally, she gave up. But I mean, man, she cussed us out from her table. Quit playing that shit. I want to hear something slow. Blah, 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 blah. And,
That's when you look at him and say, well, go to the management, tell them to hire a band that plays this crap.
She did. And I think he told us, look, they play what they play.
Well, that's what happened at the end of Irison's. I managed that place for 2 years, and not saying anything other than they would have a band play there. It could have been any one of our bands play there, and in between it, they would play the newest hip hop. And those two things don't go together.
Yeah.
People that were there to see us didn't want to hear that, and if there wasn't anybody in the audience that wanted to hear that, they sure as hell weren't there to see us. So it's like that is the same exact thing you're saying.
But you know what? Now, there is one place in the world where that works. The Houston Valley Club in Greenville. Man, I played there once with Cadillacs.
Yeah.
And we were actually a little too loud because all we played was classic rock. And what they want bands that play the most heavy radio rock and out growl metal.
And then they want to dance in
And
between.
then, man, they turn up that PA system on the break, and it is hip-hop, jive ass, and the same dude with the big bone in his nose and all the skulls tattooed across his forehead. I mean, then all of a sudden he's up there boogieing with some chick, and I'm like, you're fake, dude. But it was weird. And that place is wild as shit. I mean, people would walk up on the stage while you're playing, get in your face, play some Godsmack, by God. I mean, hateful. I'm going to kick your ass if you don't do it, Right. But then when it's all over, they want to hear some Eminem and fucking P. Diddy.
That sounds like a nightmare to me.
Well, I mean, it sounds bipolar as hell. I mean, you get in the average guy's car and you got Slayer sitting next to the Carpenters. I mean, it's that extreme now.
Yeah.
But, hip-hop and metal are not just extremely different forms of music. I mean, those are extremely different cultures.
I don't know. They fuse together fairly well in a few instances. Look at Anthrax. Hell, I hate Biohazard. They made a living off of it.
They
You look
did.
at Saliva, that's what they're doing. POD, all these different bands
At
that
least
are
Anthrax was
mixing.
doing it with a good rap
tongue-in-cheek.
band. They weren't even called hip hop. They were called rap. Public Enemy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying there is a difference. There's a handful of hip hop bands. That'd be like changing the name of what metal is. Why is it hip hop? It's rap.
There you go.
Well, anyway, we could go on for days about that, but that's really the truth. I didn't know that about that. I've heard about that place.
Jeff, what's the second song you want to play off this CD? We're going to play one and come back.
Okay, throw up a little, I think it's track 6, a little Discomfort.
We're going to listen to a little Discomfort, and we're going to be right back after this, so stick around. Things up with Buzzcuts, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for sticking around and listening. We are here with Jef Roberts and Tom and Jared, and I want to run down what's going on this weekend, let you know who's playing what. The Hackensaw Boys are at the Down Home on Friday night. Hold for Earshot playing at Capone. Spring Creek is also at the Down Home opening for the Hackensaw Boys. The Homegrown Band is at Halo. Fury Heat is going to be at O'Manon's. Bone Pony is going to be playing at the Stir Fry. And Paul Wilbur is going to be performing at the Paramount Center. On Saturday night, Johnny Possum and Chelsea Sadler. I like the name Johnny Possum. There's something about that. Going to be playing at the Acoustic Coffee House. The Jones Boys are going to be at the Crowbar. Roy Bookbinder making his way back to the Down Home, a show you definitely want to catch. Shades of Grey are going to be at Fastlane, and somebody may have told me that might be their last show.
They've already played their last show.
They've already played their last show?
That will be played by someone else.
That will be played by someone else.
According to Dave last night,
Yeah, it's on our schedule there, Shades of Grey at Fastlane, but I don't think that's happening. The Hooligans are going to be at O'Manon's Pub. If you like Celtic music and cool stuff there, they're going to be out there at O'Manon's. You want to check that out. So lots of good shows going on this weekend. Everybody get out and check out some good stuff and see what's happening. Sunday, some shows going on as well. Pistol Shot, Gypsy, Huzzah, and The Informants are going to be at the Hideaway. That'll be worth checking out as well. And on Tuesday, one of my favorite band names is going to be at the Hideaway, Sink Drinker. I don't know what it is about the name Sink Drinker. Jucifer going to be there on Monday. So there's all kinds of good music coming up, man. You want to check that out and things happening. Jeff, we normally end things up here by asking a question. We're going to ask it, and we're going to start with you instead of starting with Tom. I start with Tom every week. And
you might not
this week
break that.
I want to start it with you. What have you been listening to this past week? What are some new things to listen to that you could tell people out there to grab hold of? And if it's not new, I mean something old that's been in your player.
Believe it or not, I've been listening to a lot of Beatles. I've been listening to Let It Be. I've been listening to a band I never thought I would get into. I denied it. I said, no, I won't listen to it. Then I heard 3 songs in a row I liked, and that was My Chemical Romance.
Yeah.
They sound like the Goodies, the Beatles, the Misfits, and Queen.
Wow.
I thought they were an emo band.
Yeah.
I'm promising you guys.
Definitely worth listening.
Queen, Beatles, Misfits.
Really?
That's the Goodies, and maybe like some T-Rex or Gary Glitter kind of thrown in. Some weird, very much
I'll
a
have to give
Beatles.
them a shot. I've
Pink
listened to
Floyd.
like 2 songs, one of which I liked, one of which I didn't. So I'll definitely have to
I
give them
threw in some Pink
a shot.
Floyd because of Richard Wright.
Yeah.
I've been listening to a lot of older stuff, but listen to Beatles. I listen to some Dwight Yoakam, and I listened to before I went to sleep. I listened to the Clash, Sandinista. Sorry,
Man, I'll tell you what, I'm all about some Clash and some Joe Strummer stuff. Get some Mescaleros action going there.
Yeah,
it's
that's
great
good.
stuff.
I love the bass player for the Clash.
Great deal.
But I listen to a bunch of stuff. The new stuff, not so much, but a lot of old stuff I've been picking up. I finally got Secret Treaties on CD. We've been talking about that for a long time. Blue Oyster Cult, and just going back and getting some old stuff on CD. And I figured I'm gonna buy all the CDs when everybody goes digital. They're gonna come down on price and be selling them like hotcakes, and I'm gonna buy them all.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
blame
gonna
you.
do. Yeah.
What have you been listening to, Tom?
Still listening to the Blazing Grace thing, trying to find mistakes and stuff. It's not the final mix, but it's close.
Well, when you have the final mix,
I will.
You know where we're gonna do a big
I will, man. It's
big
on
world
the
premiere
list.
here.
Huh?
You're recording at Mikey's.
Yep, it's done. We did throw some backup vocals on it, and Mikey actually did some keyboards on a few songs, which really made them awesome. But we're listening to the mix and seeing what we like and don't like about it, and making sure there's not any hidden mistakes that will raise its ugly head when it's too late. So that's me.
I've spent the last week listening to a lot of Gogol Bordello, and I hadn't listened to him in a while. Do you ever listen to those guys? If you haven't, I mean, it's gypsy rock and roll, and they're crazy. They're out of New York, and it's just crazy stuff. And I saw something online. Madonna directed a movie that's going to be coming out pretty soon called The Filth and the Wisdom, or Filth and Wisdom, something like that.
She's full of both, isn't she?
Yes, there you go. And I read a review of it that said the movie was horrible, but the music was great. And I was just like, well, I wonder who did the music. And you scroll down, and the guy playing the lead is the singer for Gogol Bordello, and the music is all Gogol Bordello stuff. And I was just like, man, I got some of that. I'm going to go listen to it and see what it is. And it just took me back. They're just... Filth and Wisdom is a great way to describe their music. Their music is really filthy, and just, I mean, you listen to it and you just picture a room full of dirty gypsies just having a blast, and it's pretty cool.
I'd like to throw up 2 other bands that I forgot that deserve a mention out in my listening this week is Gypsy Pistoleros, which are a strange band from, I believe they're from Sweden. They play like glam, spaghetti western, flamenco surf music.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to give that
Now,
a
they
listen
don't call
to.
it that. I'm just saying that's all the styles that are incorporated into what they are.
Subgenre.
And
What's the
also
other one?
Low Straitjackets, which are
Yeah, they're pretty crazy.
where
They're out
they
there.
wear the lucha libre mask and
Yeah.
they play surf instrumentals.
Yeah.
And I'm all about both of those
Very
things.
cool. Very cool. And we're going to sign off by me talking to you. When I first started hanging out over in Bristol and everything, you were, I got to say, Jef Roberts was the only person I ever had a conversation with who actually knew who Mr. Bungle was.
Oh, yeah.
This is back before they really
Crazy
started
band.
getting any interest. And this past week, I ended up, I was thinking about that, and I actually broke out the first Mr. Bungle album and had it in my car for a little bit, and I think it almost drove my wife
Could
completely
you imagine
nuts.
trying to learn how to play
No.
just one
Yeah.
of them songs?
No. Vanessa listened to like 3 songs and just turned and looked at me and said, I'm not going to get angry, but please take this out. I was just like, sorry about that, and popped it out. It's a very acquired taste.
Very, very acquired
and
taste.
even more acquired is the Fantomas, although the stuff he's been doing lately is a little more
That is
straightforward.
definitely- Yeah,
He's out there, man.
He is an
He's
out there dude.
Yeah,
He's,
but it's good stuff at Mike Patton. He's out there.
Can I plug one thing?
Go right ahead.
Me and Rick Centeno are playing acoustic as hell, drums, acoustic guitar at Machiavelli's on Halloween. Thank you.
Very cool. What time you get started on Halloween?
I think we're playing 3 sets, which is, I don't do those kind of things. I usually play straight ahead. I think we're playing a dinner set, which dinner for them is like 8:30 to 10.
Yeah.
Then we're going to play the bar crowd.
Great. Good
Part
deal.
original, part bizarre covers. He plays acoustic. I play drums and sing.
Good deal. Looking forward to Halloween this year, so it should be cool.
I just want to throw that in because that's the only chance I'm going to have probably.
There you go. Guys, thank you very much for being here. Tom, Jeff, thank you for driving
Thank you
down.
for having me, guys.
And
Pleasure.
we thank everybody for listening. And remember to check out kingsport.tv when you get a chance. And hopefully we will see you soon. Thanks for joining us on Buzzcuts. Have a great week.